Greetings LEGO fans and welcome to Retro LEGO, where we revisit and rank the sets in beloved LEGO themes from the past. Today we return to the magical world of Harry Potter with the original line of Chamber of Secrets sets. Released between 2002 and early 2003, these 10 sets portraying scenes from the second book in the series carried forward the charm, whimsy, and disregard for screen accuracy that the Sorcerer's Stone wave had. Frankly, that's what makes me love them all the more. Aesthetically speaking, it feels like the sets from these first two installments were almost like a sub-theme of their own, as things would take a dramatic turn in a more modern direction when the Prisoner of Azkaban sets were released soon after. As such, these first couple years of LEGO Harry Potter stand apart from the rest, reflecting the innocence, childlike wonder, and bouts of downright silliness that the first two books and films had to offer. So, brew yourself some Polyjuice Potion, and let's dive into the Chamber of Secrets. Taking the bottom spot in this wave is set number 4727, Aragog in the Dark Forest. Originally retailing for $20, this set is not my favorite, but it's not nearly as bad as its internet reputation would have you believe. The scene depicted here is Harry and Ron's terrifying encounter with Hagrid's enormous pet spider, Aragog. Though the build for Aragog is admittedly a bit rough, with a face akin to a cartoon praying mantis and tentacle-like legs, when you zoom out a bit, you can still tell who he's representing. So it's not a terrible first attempt in my opinion. The main 16x16 terrain build is a tad blocky even for the time, but it does pack in some rare 1x1 and 2x2 spider print tiles and a unique play feature. Should either of our heroes get distracted by the prospect of the 4 gold coins hidden under this stump, they'll put their friend in quite the bind, literally. The tree build to the side is probably the best looking portion of the set, boasting a respectable size and a nice little compartment for hiding an owl or anything else you want to stash away. The 2 minifigures included are both set exclusive. The first is Harry in alternate casual attire. He retains the same face print and hair mold from his Sorcerer's Stone introduction, but gets a new print and color for his torso. The exact same is also true of his best friend Ron Weasley. Though I always thought it might be fun to try and bend his wand in half to reflect its unfortunate state during this scene. Something that's conspicuously missing from this scene is the famous Ford Anglia, which does show up in this wave, but we'll get to that. Sure, this set is my least favorite from this wave, but it's far from bad, offering plenty of play potential and set exclusive elements. At number 9, we have set number 4731, Dobbys Release. Hitting shelves at $7, this tiny set portrays one of the last scenes from the Chamber of Secrets, where everyone's favorite house elf gains his freedom. We're given a small corner build representing either a corridor or a chamber, and aside from the table that holds the specialized printed book representing Tom Riddle's punctured and inky diary, the rest of the set has little to do with the drama unfolding between the characters. Hidden underneath this writing desk is another one of those 1x1 printed book tiles, and this sliding secret compartment in the wall hides yet another familiar 1x2 tile printed with a bundle of wizard goodies. Aside from these zany delights, the set includes 2 minifigures. The first is a new face to the Harry Potter lineup, Draco Malfoy's devious father, Lucius Malfoy. Bearing a condescending smirk and a cocked eyebrow, you can easily see where Draco gets his nastiness from. Strangely enough, the limited selection of hair molds at the time wasn't a problem, as the standard shoulder-length mold works perfectly here in blonde. His high status is reflected in his fancy 3-piece pinstripe suit and robes, and I think this is a pretty strong representation of the character, especially for a first stab. Next, we get this set-exclusive instance of Dobby the House Elf. Much like the goblins in the Sorcerer's Stone wave, all of his facial details are represented by the mold itself rather than printing, which leads to a somewhat nightmare-inducing stare. But aside from having any color variation in his face, he really does look like his portrayal on screen. His torso print handily represents a simple, tattered pillowcase, and again like the goblins, he's given one of the first instances of short minifigure legs. He's also given a set-exclusive 1x2 printed sock tile, which, appropriately, can be stashed inside the diary to recreate the scene. This set is pretty darn fun, and though it's small, it makes a great supplement to the other sets in the series. Coming in at number 8 is set number 4719, Quality Quidditch Supplies. Initially selling for $10, this set is a somewhat curious inclusion in the lineup, but a welcome one. Previously, the only Diagon Alley representation we had received was in the decidedly girl-targeted Diagon Alley shop set from the previous year. But here, things are brought into the theme's more standard aesthetic. The storefront, though small, really does look quite nice, and it can fold down the middle for some variety in play. I wish there was a hinge at the top to make this a bit more stable, but it's serviceable enough for the small footprint. Inside, you'll find a colorful, eclectic selection of Quidditch merchandise, ranging from brooms, quaffles, bludgers, and even a chrome antique golden snitch under a cloche, all the way to robes and even a copy of a book that I presume is meant to represent Quidditch through the ages. And oh, is that the Sorcerer's Stone I spot there? Though I'm sure this is meant to simply represent a nondescript package rather than the MacGuffin of the previous installment, this 1x2 tile only appeared in this set and the Gringotts set from earlier in the year. A set-exclusive printed sign hangs over the shop entrance, and a very nice printed window pane adds a lot of charm to this shop's look. The one minifigure included here is a set-exclusive version of Draco Malfoy, donning a casual black sweater instead of his usual school robes. Why he, of all people, was included here, I'm not sure, but I like to imagine he's scoping out the new Nimbus 2001s in hopes that his dad will buy him onto the Slytherin team with them. This is a set I wasn't familiar with before, and I think that with the limited Diagon Alley offerings available at the time, this was a very fitting supplement to the LEGO Wizarding world. If you enjoy these videos and want to support their ongoing creation, please consider becoming a member of the Brick Guild. Just 99 cents a month gets you a shout out on every new video and priority replies to comments, while a full membership at $4.99 a month gets you early access to new videos, member-only polls, and behind-the-scenes sneak peeks. Click the join button underneath the video or the link in the description for more info. Taking the number 7 spot is set number 4726, Quidditch Practice. This $13 set was the first to portray the popular wizarding game of Quidditch in LEGO form. Consisting of a set of 3 hoops, a small tower, and the game equipment, it gives you everything you need for at least some half-court Quidditch. Built out of some simple Technic axles, connectors, and the debut of these sports hoop pieces that would eventually become the basketball hoops of LEGO Sports, these definitely look the part. The tower is perhaps a little disappointing due to its inclusion of only 1 seat and the fairly typical exclusion of the other 2 houses at Hogwarts. This could be somewhat remedied with a Toys R Us exclusive add-on to this set, but I'm not sure it's worth the effort to chase this one down. The characteristic magical whimsy is still present here though, with a hidden compartment under the chair for some more wizardly odds and ends, and a secret door on the bottom that can conceal another copy of Quidditch Through the Ages. The 3 minifigures included here are all exclusive to this set, if you don't count minifigure pack releases. The first is Harry in his Gryffindor Quidditch robes. The use of dark red here looks great, and the print is really solid as well. His opponent on the field is Draco Malfoy in his green Slytherin robes. His torso print is similar to Harry's, but I appreciate that it's not just a recolor and house swap of the Gryffindor robes, but has its own distinct wrinkle patterns. Finally, we're given Madame Hooch, who, like so many of these first-generation Harry Potter figures, looks exactly like I pictured her from the books. Her stern expression, yellow eyes, and brilliantly printed torso and cape make her still my favorite version of the character LEGO has produced. To make this set a bit more interactive, a small catapult is included to launch the quaffle and bludgers into the air, while the snitch, once again represented by a 1x1 rounded plate, flitters around the pitch. I'm not sure why they went with chrome gold in this set when the one included in Quality Quidditch Supplies was chrome antique brass, but perhaps the 2 snitches were made by 2 different magical manufacturers. This set does a lot with a pretty low piece count, and if you picked up 2 of them, you'd have yourself quite the Quidditch setup. At number 6 is set number 4720, Knockturn Alley. Selling for $20 in early 2003, I'll admit that I had no idea that this set even existed until making this video, and I'm definitely missing out. The set, similar to quality Quidditch Supplies, provides a small storefront built on 2 hinged plates, meant to represent Borgin and Burke's The Dark Wizard Shop. The shop contains a cacophony of rare, macabre pieces, including a brain, a trans-green goblet with a pair of spooky eyes underneath, a set-exclusive Hand of Glory tile, and a gaggle of other dark magic odds and ends. A substantial side build also allows you to simulate Harry's accidental arrival in Knockturn Alley. The set includes 2 exclusive minifigures as well. The first is Harry with a sand green torso and blue legs, and next we have another instance of Lucius Malfoy, this time donning perhaps an even fancier suit than before. This set is delightfully spooky and continues to expand the world of LEGO Harry Potter beyond the confines of Hogwarts. Breaking into the top 5 is set number 4735, Slytherin. Hitting shelves at $10, this set is LEGO's first representation of the Slytherin Common Room. Depicting the scene in which Harry and Ron transform into Malfoy's 2 dim-witted cronies, Crabbe and Goyle, the set does a pretty great job at capturing the suspense of that exchange. A large, specially printed door and shield, each with the Slytherin crest, dominate the room, while a pair of tables full of magical odds and ends, dual snakes flanking the room, and even a sword on display give the scene its much-needed dread and tension. The particularly notable element of this set is its minifigures. We get the familiar Draco Malfoy from the previous wave, but we're also given Malfoy's loyal goons, the first being Crabbe. Bearing a seemingly appropriate blank expression, he's not exactly what meets the eye, as he's not Crabbe at all, but is actually Ron Weasley under the transformative effects of Polyjuice Potion. To reflect this, the figure is given a double-sided head print with Ron's face on the back, allowing you to reenact the transformation for yourself. The same goes for Goyle, who, behind the scowling face, we find Harry's. As Professor Quirrell from the previous year was the first instance of a double-sided head print, it seems that was all that LEGO needed to keep pushing that concept for storytelling purposes. With a little bit of modification to the top, this set can be easily integrated into the original modular Hogwarts system and gives us yet another corner of the castle to explore. Coming in at number 4 is set number 4728, Escape from Privet Drive. Retailing for $30 in 2002, this set gives us a welcome look into another non-Hogwarts location, Harry's miserable summer home with the Dursleys. Though it basically looks nothing like the house from the film versions, I don't think that matters one bit, as this set gives you plenty of features to reenact scenes from the first 2 books. The most obvious is the titular escape, featuring the Flying Ford Anglia. This is a vehicle that's seen many versions over the years, but I've got to say they really nailed the look on their first try. Aside from some minor color and part changes, this car has remained remarkably consistent in its subsequent revisions. In the trunk, a rope is at the ready to pull the bars off of Harry's window, allowing him to narrowly escape the clutches of Uncle Vernon. If you're looking to reenact scenes from the Sorcerer's Stone, we're given a somewhat crude representation of the cupboard under the stairs, while the chimney allows the letters from Hogwarts to be dispatched into the house with impunity. Like many of the other Harry Potter sets of the time, the house is composed of 2 sections, connected by a hinge, giving you some variety in how you want the interior spaces configured. Upstairs, we're given an appropriately bare, depressing bedroom for Harry, while down below, a cluttered table and a giant spider on the floor admittedly don't fit the description of Aunt Petunia's famously spotless house. There are 3 minifigures included in the set. The first is Ron Weasley, wearing the same clothes we saw him wearing on the Hogwarts Express, and ready to bust Harry out of his house arrest. Next, we have an exclusive version of Harry himself, donning a red button-up shirt and gray pants. And finally, we have Uncle Vernon. I think this might still be the best version of Vernon in LEGO form. His face print is perfect, and at the risk of sounding like a broken record, he's a one-to-one realization of my imagined version of him from reading the books. His cardigan-adorned torso print perfectly hints at his rotundity, and though he's technically the same height as these versions of Harry and Ron, his printed details make him feel so much more imposing. This set really works for me, and adds some much-needed variety to the otherwise castle-centric lineup. Taking the number 3 spot is set number 4733, The Dueling Club. This very simple $20 set was the source of a lot of childhood joy for me, as this was one of the few we were able to actually own from this wave. Turns out it was a great choice because it packs plenty of action into a relatively small footprint. The main structure is built in the familiar modular Hogwarts style, making it very easy to mix and match with the other sets of the era, and is perfectly framed by the 2 lion head busts in the back and the 2 Hogwarts banners in the front. Planted in the center is this giant chair, which I can't help but think looks more like a throne, which seems to suit Professor Snape just fine. Turn this chair around and you'll see a snake concealed behind it, allowing you to reenact the famous Parselmouth incident from this part of the story. A separate platform gives us our dueling stage, where dual trapdoor elements are set up to fling your characters any which way when things start getting out of hand. There are 4 minifigures included: Professor Snape, Harry, Draco Malfoy, and a tirelessly grinning newcomer to the gang, Gilderoy Lockhart. Adorned in fashionable emerald robes, this first stab at the foppish, beamingly deceitful Lockhart is spot on. His wavy hair element, specially made for this character, perfectly reflects his lavish persona, while his cheesy grin and expertly tailored clothes seal the deal. His hair element is particularly significant to me because my brother and I used it for the main character of one of our favorite brick films, Tectonic Man. This set is an excellent example of the strengths of this era, giving you a substantial expansion to your castle while also delivering on the play value. The runner-up is set number 4729, Dumbledore's Office. Selling for $50 at launch, this sprawling, delightfully whimsical set gives us 3 stories of mysterious magical fun. The exterior of the set is mostly enclosed, a rarity for the time and a feature that makes this an ideal add-on to the Hogwarts castle from the previous wave. The interior, however, is where the fun really begins. Pulling this pin from underneath the gargoyle statue allows you to fold open the bottom floor and access the stairwell to the headmaster's office. Along the way, you'll be greeted by what looks like Dumbledore's mailroom, featuring a rotating mailbox on one side and a stack of slots containing all sorts of curious parcels and even a golden key on the other. Ascending the unruly spiral staircase puts you in the office itself, featuring the headmaster's desk and chair surrounded by all sorts of magical oddities. Much like the first floor, this area also opens up to give you more room for play. True to form, the desk hinges open to reveal a small 1x1 book tile hidden underneath, and the nondescript potion shelf in the back rotates to reveal another golden key. Up above is a perfect bit of whizzing and whirring magical nonsense. Turning this pin on the exterior will send this peculiar instrument into motion, spinning this set-exclusive trans-purple disc piece and the curious apparatus above. If you're wondering how Dumbledore gets in and out of his office without being seen, look no further than this secret entrance on the bottom floor. Speaking of Dumbledore, this is his only appearance in this wave, identical to his look in the previous sets, while the standard Gryffindor Harry is also included. But we're also given the first LEGO adaptation of Professor Minerva McGonagall. Her exquisitely detailed emerald robes and matching hat fit the character to a T, while the face print, though I'm sure they were going for stern, looks a little sinister to my eye. This, to me, is still the best version of Dumbledore's office we have in LEGO form, and its utter mystical absurdity represents so much of what I love about early LEGO Harry Potter. And at number 1 is set number 4730, The Chamber of Secrets. Originally retailing for $70, this set perfectly builds on what made the previous Hogwarts Castle set so great. With a series of interchangeable modules, you're given everything you need to reenact the thrilling climax to the story. Starting in a crude but functional representation of the girls' bathroom, the entrance to the chamber is revealed. Pushing this plate out from underneath the trapdoor sends your characters sliding into the murky depths below. When you gather up your wits again, you'll end up face to face with the enormous stone statue of Salazar Slytherin, which conceals the monstrous basilisk. This thing is huge and is built from a system similar to the dinosaur sets of the era. The original teeth, which were actually just glow-in-the-dark knife elements, had to be replaced with more modern ones on this copy, since the originals were lost to time and it's ridiculously cost-prohibitive to get replacements. This petrifying creature is still the best version we've seen, in my opinion, with its scale, system compatibility, and utter viciousness remaining unmatched. On either side of the chamber are the two largest modules, which look very similar but contain different features. The first allows you to swivel open the snake-emblazoned wall pieces to reveal the Sword of Gryffindor and a snake, while the other blasts open its walls, revealing the Sorting Hat and a trans-neon green spider. The helpful phoenix, Fox, also shows up here, and looks pretty incredible. His single-molded design is surprisingly detailed, and the color gradient from red to orange on his tail is really well done, even including bars on either side so minifigures can hold on. The other minifigs included are standard versions of Harry and Ron, along with a new version of Lockhart, this time in sand red robes and a paisley vest. This is by far my favorite minifigure from this wave, as it so perfectly captures this character's nauseating garishness. He's also set exclusive, making this one a bit harder to find on the secondary market. Next, we find Ginny Weasley, around whom this whole climactic showdown revolves. Dressed in standard Gryffindor robes and copying Hermione's already subpar face print with the exception of added freckles, I'll admit that this version of Ginny is pretty disappointing. Looming over Ginny is the spectral presence of Tom Riddle, who, dressed in Slytherin robes and a mirth-filled scowl, looks pretty confident that he's won the battle. He uses the same hair mold as Harry, which could be interpreted as lazy, but I like to think it's a nod toward the similarities the two characters bear. To complete the scene, we're given another copy of the stabbed and ink-splattered diary, which ultimately ends the perilous exchange. This set is just awesome, and what's even better is that it fits directly underneath the previous year's Hogwarts castle, making for a killer display. Much like that set, it both looks great and packs in a treasure trove of play. But as always, what do you think of this second wave of Harry Potter sets? Let me know in the comments below. And to watch the episode on the Sorcerer's Stone sets, click the video on your screen. And until next time, enemies of the air beware.